Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Riordanverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. DJ, why are you letting the dog lick your mic?
It's fine.
I have to edit that sound out.
He wants to be part of the episode.
He's just saying hi.
He can't. It's the Bastet episode. No dogs allowed.
Right, fair.
He loves cats, Darien.
No dogs on the moon? No dogs here. Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become part of modern pop culture through the lens of Riordan's The Kane Chronicles. This is story 114, Bastet. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien and Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I'm DJ the Muse, and I've been playing a lot of Ball X Pit. In fact, I'm playing it right now. Darien caught me while I was in the middle of a game. I'm almost done. The boss is about 5% health.
You can't do this when we have a guest.
I understand that. But I was in the midst
now Mal
of the
has been revealed before the garden. This is unhinged.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. All right.
There's always just an impeccable sibling energy whenever I am on a recording with you two, and I'm obsessed with it.
No.
Good. I'm glad it's enjoyed. Okay. Fine. Well, we'll muse around the garden, and when we come back, DJ's gonna have his act together.
There we go. All right. It's good. It's done. We beat it. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
So we're back from the garden now. And we have a guest. It's Mal. Hello, Mal.
Hello.
Mal from the Demigod Debut podcast
Woo.
is joining us for the first time.
Wow.
Hi, welcome,
Yeah.
actually. Yes.
Woohoo!
I was
I'm
like,
very
we've recorded
excited.
together. I'm like, yeah, but we were on your podcast.
Yes.
This
And
is
it
your
was a
first
great
time over
time.
here on Muses. That was fun.
Yes. And I know nothing about Egyptian mythology. I haven't even read the Kane Chronicles. I am also very allergic to cats, so you might be like, bitch, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here for the vibes.
I slightly bullied Mal into coming because I was like,
Just
this
a little,
is a big episode. Hey, we're recording it in 90 minutes. Does anybody want to come on? And I got 3 back to back. Oh, I would, but I've got D&D at 8 o'clock.
You hate to see it.
And I was like, okay. And Mal's like, I would, but I don't know anything about Egyptian mythology. And I'm like, that's fine. You just need to react and like cats.
And I was like, great. Because one of the great tragedies of my life is that I'm allergic to cats. So, like, I love and respect cats very much. So, I'm here and I'm ready to learn.
That is absolutely, I think, the energy we need to bring to the Bastet episode. Speaking of cats, I did have both of my cats in here with me, and they both left when I hit record. And that is the energy that we are bringing to the Bastet episode. Hey, Mal, spoilers for the Kane Chronicles.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just, okay.
I feel like I've been around long enough that, like, most things have been revealed to me already about the Kane Chronicles. And I just
probably absorbed most of your fandom.
Is going in. That's crazy because I knew nothing about the Kane Chronicles going in.
But DJ, you're not an active participant in the Riordanverse fandom.
I guess.
I'm very online.
Yes. Same. So, usually this is the part, actually, I will ask this because I think it'd be so funny for you to just try to answer it, and feel free to do some creative writing here. Mal, what do you know about Bast in the Kane Chronicles?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I assume that she's there. I have read the, like, Demigods and Magicians crossover short story, and I know there's, like, a god possession situation thing that happens in the Kane Chronicles. Is someone, like, I don't know, a vessel for Bast? That's my best guess.
Absolutely. I
Fair
love
enough.
that. Absolutely fair. You are free, if you want, to spike it over to DJ and ask him what he remembers about Bast from the Kane Chronicles. It's usually his job to bring this to
Yeah,
the table.
DJ. Please answer the question.
Cat Ant, I guess I should say, actually.
Cat Ant.
Yeah. She is
Yep.
like the protector of the Kane kids. And was trapped
love that.
deep in the Duat battling Apophis. And was freed
For an indeterminate amount of time.
I don't know, 4,000 years, maybe. Who knows? And then was freed by the Kane's parents
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why the mom chose to die. I still don't get that. Still don't get that.
Yeah, well, we have to give the kids a tragic backstory.
You could still just have the mom also get swept.
It's
up
a Rick
into the
Riordan
bullshit,
book.
Right, at the start of the book. Mom doesn't have
the
to
mom
be dead.
has to be dead.
Well, no, Mel, because here's what's crazy is like the premise, like the Kanes, Ruby and Julius Kane, like the parent Kanes are like, hey, we need to go back to the old ways. We've got to team up with the gods again because Apophis is coming because Ruby Kane had a vision about it. So we got to get the gods and the magicians working together again so we can stop this ultimate force of chaos. The first thing we need to do is free Bast, who is fighting chaos deep in the Duat. Great. Got it. They are trapped within Cleopatra's Needle because that's just where they trap Egyptian gods within things. So they go to free her. And an act of doing so costs so much energy because magic, right? That it kills Ruby Kane. But we find out that but she does successfully free Bast. And we find out that Bast offered to do like the god, eye of the god soul meld, the soul resonance thing with Ruby Kane to give her the power to like save her, and she said no.
It's like Superman's
and the
dad
thing about
telling
that
him
is
not to save
why
him in Man of Steel, just being like no, and it's like Superman could have saved him.
Yeah, it's just for plot. It's so baffling because it's like she is saying that this lost ancient type of magic is crucial and necessary to re-embrace as magicians in order to be successful. And she has the opportunity to do it to save her life, and she just does it, and that is like never properly unpacked or interrogated.
This whole
wild.
It's so ridiculous. This again, Kane Chronicles is fun, but like it's kind of poorly written.
And so is the mom being dead the reason we have like a parent trap situation and one of the siblings is British?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great.
The grandparents fought for custody of just Sadie, the younger sister, because they're racist.
Probably.
Yes, I was like, because she's the white passing
Julius
one. Yes,
is black. And she's the white passing one.
Did know that.
They only fought for Sadie, not Carter.
Wow.
And we also find out that the other magicians also wanted to separate the Kane siblings because they're the children. They're blood of two different pharaohs. They're too strong. And DJ and I are a little bit like them.
They could have just been
please
twins.
don't do that. They should have just been twins. It's like we really needed like super powerful kind of weird boy girl twin combo. Always fun in magic stories, but we moved past it. They also helped get them separated, but that doesn't make the grandparents any less racist.
Yeah.
Right.
And then their dad dies. So now their uncle is going through he went through major trauma, is now having like magical therapy to overcome his PTSD. So their guardian is the cat goddess Bastet. Well, she's Bast in the book.
I mean, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. She is part of the narrative is that in order to exist in the human world, outside of like the Duat, which is like the magical under nether realm type world, the gods have to they have to have a host. And so Bast is not riding in a human though. As far as I can tell, she's still possessing the cat Muffin.
I have no clue. I thought Muffin died in the second
Julius
book, right?
gave Sadie. No. Bast used the last of her strength to save Muffin. But we don't see Muffin again after Bast comes back. Which is why
the more you talk, the more I'm like, I don't actually know as much about the Kane Chronicles as I thought.
He added so much credit.
But honestly, like,
there's so many layers.
Kind of like threw it away a little. It's so
her possessing a cat, like, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to be like, if she's not possessing a person, she must be possessing a cat. So, like, makes sense.
I should have opened it up for you to ask. Honestly, I should have volunteered you. Yeah, and we also, it's like, the general consensus is it's probably because that is her truest representation of her essence as a god is cat. And therefore, this is like because I'm also like, hey, how does Muffin feel about this? Is Muffin just asleep in there? And we think, no, it's a perfect host symbiosis. I think, yes, because we see Bast interact with another cat, and just this old tomcat who is just like the most regal and respectful. So I think all cats know who she is and would be willing to like, of course, my goddess, whatever you need.
Great.
So Yeah.
Incredible.
So this is there's a one-off joke where Carter calls her Aunt Kitty. But she is their aunt.
Yeah.
Like, basically, that is the relationship they have, where she loves them so much, she refers to them as her kittens. It's her job to protect them. And we just keep getting rid of her for entire books. We just keep sending her out of the narrative.
So long in so many books.
It's like she's too competent. She has to go so the young teens can have their adventure.
Right, listen, I say all the time that if you want the children to be the heroes, the adults have to be a little bit incompetent, and so that is why all the parents must suck or be dead in Rick Riordan books.
Exactly. Because then when you set something in Camp Jupiter, and you're just like, hey, there's a whole bunch of adults. There's a whole goddamn city. What do you mean the teenagers are dealing? This doesn't work anymore.
What do you mean these adults living in this city are okay with the child soldiers defending them? What do you mean?
Well, that's just how they were raised. We have to okay, this is not the Court of the Dead episode. No, that was me. I brought it to the table. So, that is basically our overall crash course in Bast in the Kane Chronicles. So the very first thing I wanted to address in the episode is it Bast or Bastet?
I mean, it just kind of...
Because you heard it both ways.
I've always heard it both ways. Even outside of this. Like, SMITE calls her Bastet. I've heard it Bast in other things aside from Kane Chronicles, so it's...
Google, in the 5 minutes that I took to Google this before coming on here, said that, like, Bast is an older name and Bastet is more modern.
Yes, that is exactly it. It's the, literally there is, like, you study the linguistics and, like, the hieroglyphs from the oldest kingdom into, like, the new kingdom and how her name and the way it was presented changed. And literally they, like, changed it phonetically. And I don't know why. I didn't really understand what I was reading, and I will be honest, at the point in time when I got to this part of the notes, even though it's the first part of the episode, I already had about 6 pages worth of notes for this, and so I decided it's okay if I don't fully understand what's up with Bast's name. It might have something to do with Alabaster, might be named after her, I'm not sure. I do know this. Bastet is the name that modern archaeologists or Egyptologists choose to use. So when referring to the mythic goddess of the Egyptian pantheon, I'm going to use Bastet. When referring to the character in the Rick Riordan books, I'm going to call her Bast because that's how she's referred to there. Does that work for everybody? Neat. All right. I love for the Egyptian episodes starting off with talking about the iconography because at the end of the season, I'm going to quiz DJ and just show him pictures of gods and see how many of them he can name. It's going to be really fun. Not surprisingly, Bastet is a lady with a cat head.
Whoa.
What?
Who'd have thought?
Crazy.
But in her earliest depictions, she had the head of a lioness.
Oh, there you go.
Also a cat.
Also a cat. Her earliest worship dates back to the Second Dynasty of Egypt, which is roughly 2890 BCE. So like 5,000 years ago. About. And so she's been around for a very long time and just had a very dramatic transformation over the years. In The Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt by Richard H. Wilkinson, it's noted that it was in the Middle Kingdom where she really became associated with a cat. And then by the New Kingdom, that's where we see her almost primarily be depicted as a woman with the head of the household feline or like a straight up cat. That's probably why we most heavily associate her with this iconography over the lion one, because it was a good several thousand years later, far more recent. More of that shit survived.
Right.
When she's in her anthropomorphic form, she is often seen holding a sistrum, which is a thing I just learned about. It's a musical rattle. Because she's associated with music and dance. I thought baby rattle at first, and I'm like, because the fertility thing? No, it's a musical instrument.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's a maraca.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't look like a maraca.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of instrument.
Oh, whoa. I Googled it. It's an ancient Egyptian percussion instrument with a U-shaped frame and crossbars that have, like, metal discs and things that jingle. Interesting.
Yeah, so probably not more of a maraca. Like, I think it, like, with little cymbals, I think maybe would be more with the metal. Yeah. I would love to. I'm sure somebody has made one and, like, recreated it based off of artifacts and images. I'd love to hear it. I'm obsessed a little bit with ancient music because we just don't know what it sounds like. And we'll never really know what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even considered that. Oh my gosh.
Because even if we have, like, musical instruments that have survived and what we can recreate with what they, like, the means and methods they would have used, the sheet music isn't the same. So we don't know how they recorded or taught music.
It's so wild to consider that there have been so many people who lived whole lives that we know just, like, tiny pieces of. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is. And they were just like us. Like, no matter how long ago they lived, humans were humans, and they were doing. And I feel like this episode, when we're going to talk about the cat goddess, is very much OMG. They were like me, though. They're just like me, though. Oh, you're going to dress up your cat in little cute outfits and let her eat off your plate? Yeah, they're just like me, for real. But one thing I will say my cat doesn't do is that that Bass does do is that when she was depicted on temple walls, she was most often a cat holding a knife, just cutting off the head of Apophis.
Yeah, there you go.
Incredible.
It's a very popular
knives.
iconography for Bass. All they do so many knives on
Right,
their
they have
hands.
finger knives for sure.
They have finger knives. Perhaps one might call them claws.
Mm-hmm.
Finger knives.
Perhaps. Finger knives. I liked. Okay, so Bastet is the goddess of a lot of things, which isn't surprising. I think most of these Egyptian deities had a lot of different. They had their hands in a lot of different cookie jars. That's not it. What's the word I want?
A lot of different pies.
Yes, they had their finger knives and a lot of different pies.
Yes.
So, in terms of female deities, most of the Egyptian pantheon were connected to lions. Not all, but, like, most of them in some way had a connection to lions. And as I stated, Bast's not an exception. In her earliest days, she was a lioness goddess. She was referred to as a daughter of Ra, making her the, quote, Eye of Ra, which is a title given to a lot of lioness goddesses, symbolizing or communicating their role as the defender of the king and, like, defender of Egypt as a whole. But Bastet was also kind of associated with the moon, making her the eye of the moon. And this duality kind of represents what Bastet would become, where we have, like, the Ida.
It's only right that the cats are causing chaos.
She's trying to get the tamale
Bastet
plate,
episode.
even though there's no more tamale on the plate. I'm going to put this in a drawer. Okay. Representing that kind of duality of, like, the aggressive, like, violent, wild lioness. But even before she became heavily associated with the cat, there were still elements of her that were not docile, but strongly more nurturing.
Yeah.
The pyramid text described Bastet as the mother and nurse of the pharaoh. And the coffin texts described her as a goddess who was the protector of the deceased. Which, let's be honest, isn't a surprise. Most goddesses were protectors of the deceased. Most of the Egyptian goddesses were also pulling double duty as protecting the deceased in the afterlife. But Bastet was also called upon to look after the start of life, being the goddess of pregnancy and childbirth, demonstrating her connection as a fertility goddess. Doubling back, in addition to that connection of, like, the Eye of Ra and her connection to Ra himself, Egyptians would invoke Bastet to protect against, like, darker forces, which led her to be called upon to guard against evil spirits and contagious diseases, which before germ theory were probably just the same thing, right?
Give or take,
right?
Yeah, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The flu is simply an evil demon coming to get you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
You got demons in your blood.
If you do, in fact, have demons in my blood. I don't have my allergy pill. I cannot take my tiny little herbal poultice to protect me against the demons in the leaves and the grass.
Right.
So while Bastet wasn't nearly as aggressive as Sekhmet, who is like what we would think of as the big lioness goddess, and honestly, she probably branched off of Bastet herself, but we will get to that when we get to Sekhmet's episode. Even when Bastet became like fully the house cat, she was still the cat of Ra. As we mentioned earlier, with the many depictions of her with a dagger, just absolutely murking Apophis. And I was kind of surprised to learn that this was such a common iconography because, hey Mal, it's tweeted. It's treated as a kind of big twist in the first Kane Chronicles book.
That she's constantly fighting Apophis?
Yeah. Like when they hear about the cat of Ra was sent to fight Apophis, they all think, oh, it must have been Sekhmet. And then they see an image of the cat fighting Apophis, like this image of the cat and the dagger. Right, Carter should have known better. Like, I thought this was a super niche thing, or maybe something that Riordan, like, really invented, or, like took
Twisted.
a lot of liberties. Yeah, no, this is common. And Carter, the kid who grew up raised by his Egyptologist dad traveling the world, should have known this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I'm like, yeah, it sounds like something you should have known.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have known it, but like, you know more than me,
that's
Carter.
Fair. You don't. Yeah, right, Carter. You know more than us. So, while Bastet wasn't the powerhouse that Isis became in terms of like goddesses and their longevity and influence, she was incredibly popular throughout Egypt. Like, especially by the late period, which is like just before Alexander the Great rolls up and the Ptolemaic dynasties take over. The city of Bubatis was the cult center of Bastet. Bubatis is its Greek name. Fun fact, Mal, what we learned this season, most of the words we use to describe Egyptian gods are the Greek name.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, we don't really have
Funny how the Greeks were everywhere.
Everywhere. We don't really have strong records or strong consensus.
We're all over that Mediterranean.
On how,
you better believe it.
Yep. On how the names were pronounced in ancient Egyptian. Like, there's like guesses, but hieroglyphics don't have vowels, so who's to say? So the Egyptian name for this city actually translated to House of Bastet. And in the 5th century BCE, the Greek historian Herodotus paid Egypt a visit. And in his writings, he actually spent a good chunk of time describing Bastet's temple in this city. And I'm not going to quote from it because it's not super interesting, but what we can gather, it was big and it was ornate and it was important. Herodotus also wrote about Bastet's big festival, which was a huge event in which 70,000 adults gathered in the city. And it was celebrated with song, dance, sacrifice, and wine. Like, so much wine.
As the best celebrations have.
Is, right? He claimed that more wine was drunk during the festival than throughout, like, the entire rest of the year.
Hell yeah.
Sounds like a festival of Bacchus. You know, it's 2-syllable B words.
Yes,
same thing, same difference.
If Rick Riordan had the courage, we would get Dionysus and Bastet drinking wine together. Or at least her drinking wine and Dionysus still being forced to drink Diet Coke.
Wine mom and wine uncle.
Yes.
Or wine aunt and
Do
wine
you think the gods of different pantheons ever hang out in Rick Riordan's
No, they fucking hate each other.
No, Apollo does hang out with the other gods.
Apollo does.
So then yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Apollo
I mean, I'm sure
does.
like nobody's hanging out with Zeus, but like the Dionysus Bastet situation seems like it would be fun.
Maybe.
I feel like Dionysus should have a cat. I think it would mellow him out.
Super stoked about the.
Yeah, he loves leopards.
Leopard mounted.
So true.
Yeah, let's see more. He's
That's a
fine.
cat.
He's alive. Yeah. I bet in the ancient times, they did all the time. In the mythic era, they were always hanging out. Today, I don't know. Hey, we'll find out in what Erica from CB Brain likes to call the Riordan Multiverse of Madness.
It's gonna happen. He's hinted at it already. It's coming. Who knows the fuck when?
We'll unpack this more in our Court of the Dead episode.
That's Rick's magnum opus, the
It is. So, cards on the table. I'm always a little bit hesitant to take like a Greek source as super strong fact on Egyptian practices or stories. We've come up against that a lot this season. But there is a block statue from the 18th dynasty, which was circa like 1300 BCE, of Nefer-Ka, who was a priest of Sekhmet. And it actually has an inscription about the festival, specifically saying that the king Amotep III was present and made offerings to the goddess. So that's enough for me to say, like, all right, Herodotus was probably recording things pretty legit. And granted, it was several hundred years between the two, but Bastet was around for a long time. A festival of this size and joviality, I think, really communicates the level of importance Bastet had with the people of ancient Egypt. And in a way that also kind of demonstrates, in the book, Rick Riordan kind of describes her as a goddess who was really popular with the common people. And I think that tracks with how many people wanted to roll up to party, and also how little I have to say about her. Actually, in terms of like myth, like gang, we've reached the end. We've reached the end of what I can talk about Bastet specifically.
That we already haven't already covered.
Yeah. There's not a lot. It's interesting because sometimes there's not a lot because we only have a couple fleeting references and we don't know. And sometimes there's not a lot because it feels like the nature of the deity was so solid and consistent that we don't have a lot of this and this and like Isis all over the place. Girl had a long history of gobbling up other goddesses and their roles. And so she has a lot going on. Bastet has a sizable entry in Wilkins' book and in other resources I've used, but not a lot. And so I figure now is a great opportunity to talk about motherfucking cats.
Woo!
Great.
So, when you think of cats in Egypt, what is one of the first things that comes to your mind, DJ?
The eye.
Elaborate. Expound?
Just like there's just like the Egyptian eye. I oftentimes will just associate with like cats as well.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. If I think of like the relationship,
like the
between
Eye
cats
of Ra
and Egypt,
or Horus?
Yeah, kind of. It's just like, yeah. Oftentimes when you would see people be like, oh, cats in Egypt, they'd also have that eye attached to it.
They would have, you'd have the, okay. Mal, what about you?
I mean, I have heard that cats were very revered, if not worshipped, and very respected in Egypt. But
Thank you, Mal, for looking at the notes.
Okay, well...
Yeah,
I also have heard that.
You also heard that, but I did want to thank you, truly. My brother doesn't look at the notes.
Well, to be fair,
listen, I work very hard on my notes, so I'm kind of like, yeah, someone should look at this and someone should appreciate it. And I love how so many things are misspelled, because that's what mine look like too. I just kind of like type and then it makes sense to no one but me. But like I feel seen by your notes.
Right. No one else needs to reference. I'm like, hey, if you want to talk about a thing, feel free to add it. You don't need to worry about what's going on here. I'm sending this out of mutual respect for you as a guest, but don't worry about what's going on here. But thank you so much. Yes, you may have heard that Egyptians worshipped cats. Because, like, that's one of the earliest things I remember learning when I learned about ancient Egypt as an idea. And I wanted to be like, okay, why, how, what's the idea? Because after all, it was illegal to kill a cat in ancient Egypt. And in the 2nd century AD, Polyaenus, a, quote, retired Macedonian general, wrote about how the Persians were victorious in the Battle of Pelusium by carrying cats into the battlefield, and claims that the Egyptian archers refused to fire because they didn't want to harm the felines. But this account was written 700 years after the battle. And hey, you remember Herodotus from a little while ago?
Yeah.
He also wrote about this battle. And granted, he lived 100 years after it took place, but he makes no mention about cats being used in such psychological warfare. And I definitely think if it happened, someone would be mentioning it 100 years after it happened,
For
and
sure.
not just 700 years after it happened.
Well, and also I'm
Um,
thinking about the concept of someone writing a thing 700 years after a battle. Because I think about, like, the American Revolution was, like, 220 years ago. And I don't know what actually happened in the American Revolution. Like, I couldn't write an accurate
We still have that
tale.
shot heard round the world shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true. That's just the Schoolhouse Rock song.
Like,
Mhm.
Hamilton, great musical, but that is not historically accurate.
Certainly.
And that's kind
Right,
of my
and you know what?
basis for what I know about the American Revolution. I did get a 4 on the U.S. History AP test, but
Hey,
that doesn't mean I know anything.
It means at one point in time you could do well on the test.
Right. But yeah, like, if I can't do that now, why would someone 700 years after this battle know what they were doing with cats?
Yeah, and I feel like the Hamilton comparison is actually really strong here because it does seem like what I could research about this guy, Pollyanna specifically, he just really liked to tell stories and exaggerate and go for spectacle.
You
So,
change
I'm gonna
details to make
say-
it better.
Yeah.
It's
So,
embellishment.
general consensus, that cat thing didn't happen. As for there being laws against killing cats, I did some digging because I was fast. I was like, where does this idea come from? So we get this from a man named Diodorus Siculus, who was a Sicilian historian from the 1st century BCE. And he is the one who claimed that if a person killed a cat, quote, whether intentionally or unintentionally, he is certainly put to death. And Diodorus claimed that he witnessed a Roman man being lynched by a cat for a crime of being lynched by a crowd for his crime
A crowd
of
of
killing
cats?
a cat. A crowd of cats. While in Egypt. And he was visiting Egypt during the Ptolemaic era. And I also want to note that Diodorus's historical works do include the Trojan War. So, let's consider
Also
the
a
nature
little
of this
embellished.
source. Yeah. If this was law during the Ptolemaic period, which was like the end of the Egyptian kingdom, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a law the whole time. And perhaps what Diodorus witnessed wasn't necessarily mob justice enacting a written law, but an anti-Roman xenophobic sentiment whipped up into a frenzy looking for any excuse.
Maybe.
Could be.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. And that thing's, listen, it's bad what happened, but I this is our only claim. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words because I'm like, okay. To Diodorus's credit, I have discussed in an earlier episode how we don't have like written records of what Egyptian laws look like. We've never found like the ancient Egyptian law book, right? That can tell us about property taxes and shit like that.
Did not, in fact, get that Civ Pro class
Yeah.
syllabus.
But this guy appears to be the only source for the claim that it was illegal to kill a cat. And I'm inclined to think, nah. And another thing I was thinking about is like, why is it we've been told they worship cats? Because yes, they have a cat-headed goddess. They also have a falcon-headed goddess. And a dude with a jackal head. And a crocodile. And never once in 6th grade social studies did anybody say that the Egyptians worshipped falcon, jackals, or crocodiles. So, like, why the cat thing?
Because they killed vermin.
Okay, don't skip ahead.
They protect against pestilence and disease.
Because cats are cooler than falcons, jackals, or crocodiles.
Cats let you
Probably.
pet them.
Which
They do, in fact, let you pet them. If a crocodile is letting you pet it, that's a trap.
Yes.
But he's big and green. He's a scaly little guy. He just wants a little pet.
I am
know what to
I
say
am
to
such
that,
a
Davis.
reptile girly that like someday you're gonna read about me being killed by a crocodile and know that it's because I was petting it and I went out the way I wanted to go.
He'll barrel roll my leg right off, and I'll be like, "That's what he does."
So Egyptologist Yekaterina Barbash, who organized the exhibit Divine Felines, Cats of Ancient Egypt, at the Brooklyn Museum, said it best. Quote, "The Egyptians came to admire felines for their complex dual nature. Felines combine grace..." What the fuck is this word? "Felines combine grace, fiduciary, and gentle care with aggression, swiftness, and danger. Gods described with these qualities were often represented with feline features. But Egyptians did not worship felines." So, from what I can tell, I think worship is the wrong word. Mal, earlier you said revere, and I think that's really more what it was. Like, there was a deep cultural reverence and love for cats. And we'll get into why it is, but the most imperfect, but I would argue reasonable comparison to the difference between how the Egyptians viewed, like, the goddess Bastet and the cat that lived with them is the difference between Jesus and the saints for Catholics.
Sure.
Walk with me on this. So, Catholics, like Christians as a whole, worship Jesus as divine. But while the saints do play a really important role in Catholic theology, saints are not considered divinity.
But the Catholics sure do love to have a feast for every saint and like a mass and DJ and I were raised Catholic, which is why I'm very comfortable making this comparison. But one of my friends, when we first started living together, I think she was raised Protestant. But she asked me once, "Why do Catholics worship saints?" And I'm like, "We don't." She was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, when you pray to a saint, it's like you're giving a phone call to someone else who's like, hey, you were human. You went through this shit. You get it. Can you help me? Can you give me some advice?" But you're not asking them to do a thing. They don't have that kind of power. They got to take it up straight with God. But like, I think that's the thing. It's like, yeah, there's a reverence for saints in this concept, but not a worship. But from the outside perspective, it can be easy to make that misconception, which I think is what we've happened here with Egypt and cats. And there's also like a weird exotification othering of the cat thing. I don't know. I didn't dive too deep into that train of thought. But the more I thought about it, the more it felt kind of like white people making brown people seem weird. Right.
We're all weird.
I mean, that's true, but like weirder than they are, like othering weird.
Well, because I'm also thinking about like,
I'll eat a spoonful of mayonnaise. I don't give a fuck.
Oh my gosh,
Jesus Christ, Davis.
Like people who really love their dogs or whatever, and pay a bunch of money to like have their dog taxidermied or whatever, like. What if that's the one surviving thing of like our generation, I guess? And like people in the future are like, yeah, they really worshipped dogs. Like, it might just be that somebody really loved their specific cat and like something survived from that. And then we got like this whole idea based on like one person really loving their cat.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is inarguably Egyptians deeply valued.
Dogs the equivalent of mummifying the cats? Is that? Like...
I don't think so, because the mummied cat didn't come home with them.
Well, like
it was like part of the burial rites.
It's still strange to do that. I don't know.
But it's like cremating a cat today, I think.
Yeah, and keeping a little urn on your mantle.
So much more work.
Yeah.
There's so much more work.
Or like sending a little bit of ash to someone on Etsy, and they put it in a little resin cast of a little cat sleeping. I don't know. Just an example.
Yeah, see, no, those resin casts, those are going to be the things that survive forever, and historians in the future are like, what were they doing in the 2000s with cats?
Why is there cat ash in this plastic junk? What did it mean? What were they trying? They were embodying. What's that thing? They're like, oh, it's the animaltism of like the Scandinavian people were like, oh, they believed it could imbue them with the power of the animals. It's like, is that it? Is that what the conclusion we're gonna get? It was ritual. Kinda. Grief is ritual. Okay, I'm gonna tell you all about the 2020 episode of the Nova documentary series called Cat Tales. On this episode, we get to meet Egyptologist Salima Ikrem, who talks about the affection Egyptians had for their cats. And I got a quote for y'all. So, ancient texts tell us that not only do cats kill rodents, but they also kill snakes. So, of course, the Egyptians love this because they were much safer as a result. Imagine you're a mother and your child is crawling around and then a snake approaches and your pet cat kills it. Also, for them, the idea of a cat killing a snake meant that the sun god Ra was killing the evil snake Apophis. So it was sort of doing double duty.
As a reptile girly, I hate the way that snakes are villainized. I just have to say
fair.
that.
No, please. I should have invited you to the Apophis episode.
Yeah, I would have been like, yes, I love scaly things.
I love snakes. Don't get me wrong. They deserve to be villainized a little bit.
No.
Yeah,
They just seem like weird little
those guys
guys.
will eat you if they get big enough. There is no...
Okay, but so would my cats.
And that's their right.
Your cats would eat you after you're dead.
I don't know if they got hungry. No, they're little murderers. If they were big and I was the size of a mouse to them, they would have no problem.
Oh, yeah. They would
Anything
eat you.
if it's big enough. Yeah.
Cash would
Our
never.
size is...
Cash would never.
No, you're
We
right.
have
Cash
Malamutes.
dog
You
isn't
kidding me?
bright enough.
Tibetan Mastiff. Some people have wolves. Those motherfuckers do not eat their owners. Coyotes might,
that's
though.
true.
Coyotes are little
Well,
fucking
exactly.
scavengers.
Well, they're not domesticated. That's what I'm saying. Listen, the thing about cats is that they're murderers and they drive bird species to extinction because they kill for fun. You should not just let your cat outside unsupervised. We don't do it with dogs. The fact that we
Amen.
just do this with cats, that is my stance. And if I get hate cancel for it, fine. I don't think
No,
we
keep
should
your
just let
cats
your cat outside unsupervised. Keep your cat inside, and if your cat wants to go outside, harness train them. Spend some time outside. It's nice bonding. The cat wants to go outside. The dog wants to go outside, but they don't get to wander the neighborhood. Okay. It was like, so basically what we have here is this funny little animal that is super useful because, killing rodents, killing snakes. We love that, as you said earlier. And also, the Egyptians already have this story of Ra and the chaos serpent Apophis, right? So you have this silly little fun animal that is soft and will let you pet it sometimes, also like enacting this story for them. So it's likely that the Egyptians' appreciation of cats is what transformed Bastet from a lioness to a cat herself. Like, they didn't, hey, cats are cool, let's make a god for them. Yeah. It was like, cats are cool, we're going to associate cats with this goddess who's already doing this thing, and over time we're just going to change that iconography more and more until she is the cat goddess.
I should make a correction real quick. Snakes will get big enough to eat you.
All snakes?
Not all snakes, but snakes. The ball python I had, if I get that thing.
Oh, it's a python.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a ball python.
Yeah, but it was
you
like
get a little corn snake. No,
this long. This is as big as that guy got, and if I got him a bigger tank, he would grow bigger.
That's crazy to me.
But if you don't get a bigger tank, he doesn't grow bigger.
The thing
that's
that
what
they're
I mean.
like controlled by their environment.
Corn snakes, sure, yeah, they don't
wild,
get that big. But like things that grow based on their environment, that motherfucker will eat you once it gets big enough. That's what I was trying to say. Let me
kind of like a goldfish, you can grow forever.
Yeah, goldfish also grow forever. Lobsters,
a goldfish, if it got big enough, it would eat you. I'm sure.
Yeah, lobsters
totally would.
They grow indefinitely and could live forever. They just expend too much energy and die eventually when shedding.
Yeah, the fact that lobsters are sort of almost immortal is wild to me. They would just grow forever until they get too big to have the energy to shed.
Yeah, that's all it is. They just get too big to shed, and then they die while molting. I guess that's the term.
That's body horror. That's so like.
Dude,
nature is wild.
Lobsters, they're fucking massive, dude. The ocean is wild. Ocean shit is crazy. Wild. Anyway.
Right. So
Percy's dad's the god of that. Holy crap. Anyway.
Hey. So we have like temple murals and reliefs and things like that depict cats in household, like domestic settings. Like there's one I really liked of a cat just eating a fish underneath its owner's chair. Royals were known to like dress their cats in jeweled collars, and they were allowed to eat off their human's plate. Though if you ask eat a cat, permission isn't necessary to eat off your human's plates. Yeah, I'm talking about you. All right. So there was a practicality to having cats around that the Egyptians would come to attribute to a sense of divinity. But again, cats themselves were not considered divine. Because if cats themselves were considered divine, the Egyptians probably wouldn't have been so comfortable sacrificing them. So content warning for this one, cat death. This is a little bit of a bummer. I'm not going to get super detailed into the method of this, but it is an important aspect of the Egyptian cat thing. Cat mummies. DJ, you mentioned cat mummy earlier. Mal, you talked about people like loving their cats so much. Hundreds of thousands of mummified cats have been found at archaeological sites across Egypt. There have been temples or tombs that were repurposed to be places where cat mummies were placed, right? They weren't built for this, but after a couple of 100,000 years, we can repurpose that guy's tomb. He's not using it. There are records that indicate that some Egyptians with the means to do so would have their beloved house cats mummified after all their 9 lives expired. But far more of these mummies were the result of animal sacrifice. And not going to go into detail because just reading about it, it kind of bummed me the fuck out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of research, a lot of archaeological evidence. If you're interested in what this looks like, you can deep dive. I don't want to. But these were votive offerings. And they were in such high demand that there were cat breeding programs across Egypt specifically for producing sacrifices to Bastet. According to Ikram, the archaeologist from earlier, the idea was that by sacrificing the goddess's titular animal, it would attract her attention in the afterlife, encouraging the goddess to offer protection to the deceased. Which is how we see the divinity of Bastet. The goddess does not extend to the cats.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So,
because my natural reaction would be if I want the attention of a goddess who likes cats or is a cat goddess, I would want to take really good care of this cat in the hopes that she would be proud of the way I've taken care of this cat.
I would have to assume there's probably that too, right? The cat that lives in your village, that is hunting the rats, the cat that's in your house that killed that snake that tried to bite your kid, the cat that was your grandma's cat that now lives with you, that cat you probably treat really well and you take care of that cat. And that cat is I'm going to show my love for Bastet by taking care of this cat. But that's the difference between a pet and a product.
Mm-hmm.
Because these cats were likely not viewed with that same reverence. They were viewed as being for something else. And that's all kind of a bummer. But I promise, I didn't bring this element up just to bum everybody out. I'm going to get back to it later, and there's going to be a little bit of oh, what a delightful side effect. So Great. I have another question for you all.
Can't wait.
Did the Egyptians first domesticate cats?
The fact that you're posing the question, I'm going to say no.
Okay. But if I hadn't posed the question and I'd asked you, hey, what's the history of cat domestication? Would you have thought Egyptians?
Probably, yeah.
Totally fair. Yeah. What about you, Mal?
I probably would have also, if I was not looking at your notes, I would, because again, if I was not looking at your notes, I would have been the Egyptians worshipped cats. Yeah, the Egyptians were the first to domesticate cats. That makes sense.
Yeah. The short answer to this question is yes, no, yes, actually probably not. And the long answer I'm going to get into. And this is why it took me so long to do these notes. This is why these notes are some of my longest. And this is why I spent 4 hours preparing for this episode.
Deep dive on cat domestication? Together. Hell yeah.
Oh, deep dive.
I'm buckled in.
Because here's the thing. The reason your first instinct is, yes, the Egyptians domesticated cats is because for a very, very long time, that is what we thought happened. That is where the history of cat domestication was believed to have originated by the Egyptians. They have a very, very ancient civilization. They had a lot of cats all around. They were living with people. The idea is that while dogs were domesticated from wolves through intentional, they kind of came around with other people, and the people have food, and we kind of developed the relationship with them and then started breeding them with intentional traits for jobs and things like that. Cats never really got that. But there was the general theory that it probably was cats started coming around humans with the advent of agriculture, because then there was more wheat and more food being stored, and rodents love that shit, and cats love to snack down on a mouse, and people love it when mice are not eating their food. So that's always been a theory, and since Egypt is so ancient and has such a record of cats, hey, it must have been cats. So, but there have been multiple discoveries over the years, just in this century, actually, that have dramatically rewritten what we understand about the history of the domestication of Felis catus. So, for a long time, we thought it was the Egyptians responsible for domesticating cats around 3,600 years ago. But in 2004, archaeologists excavated a Neolithic grave in Cyprus that contained the skeletal remains of a 30-year-old human male and a cat laid close together, clearly intentionally. This grave was estimated to be 9,500 years old.
Yeah.
It kicks back the earliest example of human-cat companionship by 6,000 years. And cats are not native to this Cyprus island, meaning the Neolithic population had to have intentionally brought this feline, or the feline's ancestors, with them when they came to Cyprus.
Oh.
So, this discovery established a new theory that cats were actually first domesticated in the Fertile Crescent, an area of the Middle East, thousands of years before kitties were popular with the Egyptians. Other ancient cat bones have been discovered across Europe since then, leading to the theory that it was the ancient farmers of what is modern-day Turkey who befriended the small wild cats who began prowling their farms and villages, hunting those rodents, and through the bond with the wild felines, they eventually evolved into the house cats of today. And as these communities migrated across Europe, their feline friends went with them.
Historical people really are just like us. They just brought their
They're just like us
pets
for
with
real,
them.
for real. Research published in 2013 saw the rise of another theory that suggested cats were domesticated twice in two different parts of the world. A study on the remains of a 5,000-year-old cats in the village of Quanhuangcan, I'm sorry, in China, determined the diet of these felines contained quite a bit of mullet. Not a thing that cats just kind of usually eat. One cat in the study was determined to have gotten this mullet because they were eating rats that ate mullet. But the other cat had way more mullet than meat and lived to be a ripe old age for a cat, signifying that it was probably being fed and taken care of by humans.
Yeah.
So this discovery was the first tangible evidence to support the theory that cat domestication was the result of felines hunting rodents that were eating human supplies. Like I mentioned, that'd been a theory for a long time, but we'd never had any firm evidence to prove this is what happened. And now we see it happening
it
here
truly
in China.
is just one of those duh. Like, why wouldn't they? These things are like killing things that we find annoying.
Yeah.
And they're cute and let them pet us. Or let us pet them. So
Exactly. And they let us pet them and they make silly little sounds sometimes. And they're funny little guys.
We're just going to keep them around because they get rid of the annoying things that cause disease and famine.
Yep.
And I think even thinking back to how DJ and I were both like, yeah, crocodile, like the crocodile can kill us. That's fine. Like, even a non-domesticated cat, I feel like if something is cute enough, like there are crazy people out there who are going to be like, yeah,
I'd have a cheetah.
This little thing, this little guy that could kill me, for sure.
I love the sand cat. I fucking love sand cats. They're just cute little kitten guys with big ears. They are not domesticated. They would fuck me up in a heartbeat. But I was so bummed out when I went to the zoo this past spring with my family and my little nephew, and the small animal kingdom was under reconstruction, and the sand cat was not on public display, and I did not get to see the sand cat. Oh, I got to get back there and see the sand cat. They've opened it up again. But I love, again, not domesticated, would fuck me up, is so cute. I love the sand cat. I get it. I would absolutely
Yeah.
I'd
leave
have
bits
a
of
mountain
food
lion.
outside of my
Any of
hut
those big
to
cats
see
I'd
if
have,
the sand
100%.
cat would come hang out with me. Like, I understand. I see. The problem with this theory, because the idea was like, oh, they were domesticated in Europe and they were domesticated in China. And then eventually one of the breeds, like one of the lineages, won out over the other. The problem with this theory is that these cats that were in the village and the study do not share strong genetic markers with the modern day domesticated cats found in China or anywhere in the rest of the world. And so let me tell you about a couple studies that came out this fucking year.
Yeah.
So a study
Great.
out of the Laboratory of Genomic Diversity and Evolution at Peking University in China found that domesticated cats likely found their way to China just 1,400 years ago via the Silk Road. Quote from the researchers, China's oldest domesticated cat lived in the central provinces of Shaanxi between 706 and 883 during the Tang Dynasty. This cat's ancestor, they determined, likely came from Kazakhstan. And the researchers proposed that the domesticated cats actually entered China as gifts to the Chinese elite from Western merchants. So the study also examined the remains of those 5,000-year-old cats that were found in the village. And they were determined to be a small species of leopard cat native to China. And so while we can clearly say that these wildcats were living among the village and were probably viewed to be beneficial and some more social than others, they did not become domesticated cats in China. Meaning that, no, we actually didn't domesticate cats twice. But ancient humans were befriending wildcats all over the world, even if that didn't turn into the line that became our domesticated house cats.
Huh. Fascinating.
Now, right, and here's another thing. That's not the only big study that came out last year that brought what we understood about feline domestication into question, because another one came out, and it challenged the theory that domestication began in Turkey. Because these researchers argued that the cat in the grave of Cyprus was not an African wildcat, but a European wildcat. A species that is not a genetic ancestor to my little buddies Taco and Ida in here. The research of the study actually argued that feline domestication did originate in ancient Egypt, springing from those ritualistic breeding and sacrifices of cats to the goddess Bastet.
So there's the good thing.
There's the good thing. And it was through the production of cats that we got the more social, domesticated house cats that were more fine with being around people and more comfortable being in like large group of cats. And genetically, we do know that it was the African wildcat, not the European cat, that is where we get the genetic lineage of our cats. And then those trade routes out of Egypt contributed to the spread of the domesticated cats throughout the rest of the world.
So we did domesticate cats twice.
Well, if you look this up, you're going to find a ton of articles from earlier this year reporting on this study, right? Reporting on both the studies and talking about the results and everything else. And the general consensus to these articles is that actually Egypt did domesticate cats. But if you're me and you click a hyperlink that actually takes you to the study where it was published in it's actually a preprint, meaning it hadn't been peer-reviewed yet, but this is very common for studies. They release this as essentially like early access for beta gamers, kind of. And then you might pull it up, and you'll see the PDF copy, and you'll see the word withdrawn watermarked over every single page.
Oh.
And then you'll find that this study was actually withdrawn by the authors in July. With the statement, the authors have withdrawn this manuscript as we carry out reanalysis and reinterpretation of our results. To be clear, this study being withdrawn doesn't suggest any wrongdoing on the part of the authors or the research itself. Like I said, it was a preprint, still needed to be peer-reviewed, and this is a pretty common part of the scientific process, right? That doesn't necessarily mean this is all wrong or anyone did anything bad or shady. But I could not find any clarification as to like what part needed to be reanalyzed. What was the reason they needed to withdraw it, right? Like, was it one major piece that they're like, this big conclusion was wrong? Or was it like the whole fucking thing? Like, did that cat from Cyprus, was it really a European cat, or did someone fuck it up? Did some new information come from the genetic data from the mummified remains of cats in Egypt? Because at the time of the study, they noted that the mummy cats had not been like reliably analyzed. I don't know. So I mentioned this whole thing because none of the fucking articles I read about this have any kind of update mentioning that this has been withdrawn. Meaning that while, yes, the study about cats coming to China via the Silk Road, that is still being analyzed. That has not been withdrawn. We can reliably say that that's probably like where we're at scientifically. But this other thing about, oh no, it was Egypt actually, not true. Not the case. We're back in Cyprus. We're back in Turkey. But no one wants to update their goddamn articles on life science and mention that before I spend 2 goddamn hours trying to track down this information.
You hate to see it.
Academia.
And I think that's a problem with fucking pop sci reporting. Like, if I hadn't clicked the hyperlink to read the study myself to try to find, like, ooh, I want to hear, like, get some direct quotes from the researchers, I would be telling you that actually, according to the most recent science, cats were domesticated in Egypt. But this is not the case at this time. Most reliable research indicates that the Fertile Crescent is still likely home to the first domesticated cats.
Wow. Thank you for taking on that journey. Thank you for taking us on that journey and for not spreading misinformation. Like, you were very thorough, and I'm just like, wow, thank you for the lecture, Professor Smartt. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Giving you 10 out of 10 on Rate My Professor, or however Rate My Professor works.
No. What? Please. Oh
you have the little chili pepper because you're spicy.
The only time I'm so ace, that's the only time I'll ever be called spicy. So, but, okay. But I brought up the cat breeding for a reason, and I promised I was going to bring it back to something fun, and it's not this bait and switch for this withdrawn article. While Egypt may not be the home of the domesticated cats, they still claim a major impact for the look of modern house cats. Let's circle back to that Nova article from earlier. In this episode, we meet Dr. Leslie Lyons of the Feline Genetics Laboratory. Yes, a Dr. Lyons works with feline genetics. That made me very
incredible.
Happy. So Dr. Lyons explained how the original wild type look of a cat's coat is a striped pattern, what we'd call the mackerel tabby. It's the cats that are typically like brown or blackish or gray, and they have the black stripes that run parallel all the way down their body. My boy Hero, he was a mackerel tabby. And so to quote Lyons, the mackerel pattern helps it to have a better camouflage in the environment that it has evolved in. Now, you may know, there's a lot of different cats of a lot of different colors, brightly colored cats, that certainly maybe wouldn't be so great at camouflaging. This is where Egyptologist Ikrem comes back along, and she discussed the popularity of ginger cats in ancient Egypt.
Orange cats!
Orange cats! So many of those tomb paintings that depict Bastet, the cat, killing Apophis, ginger cats.
Yeah.
And ginger fur can be found in the remains of mummified cats.
There you go.
Ikram argues that Egyptians specifically bred ginger cats because of the association with Ra. And like I said, such brightly colored coats, not great for surviving in the wild, but humans love distinct and interesting colors.
Oh, yeah.
So while Egypt might not be the home of the first domesticated cats, we can probably thank them for all of the goofy orange cat memes.
Outstanding.
And thank God for that. I love orange cats online.
I love orange cats online. They're menaces. They're so weird.
Orange cat behavior.
Orange cat behavior. Oh, hi, baby girl. Ida Cat is here. She is a gray cat. And my other boy, Taco, he is a black cat, but they are both actually tabbies. You can see very faintly they have the stripes on their tail. And Taco briefly turned white, salt and pepper, when he was young. And you could see like he had stripes all over his body.
Mhm.
So technically,
Aw.
they're both tabbies. And that makes me very happy because it means they have the cute tabby meow. So that is what I have for the goddess Bastet and all of her feline clouder.
Amazing.
So now this is the part of the episode where we will talk about any examples of this particular myth or mythic figure that we have encountered in modern pop culture. Off the top of your head, do you have any examples of seeing Bast in movies or comics or video games?
Well, I didn't think of the ones that you have in your notes, so no,
That's
off
fair.
the top of my head. But now that I see like the ones that you have, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, do you want to talk about because Marvel Comics is one of them.
Like me
Mel,
talk
do you
about
like
it?
Marvel? Do you like Marvel? Do you like Marvel movies and Marvel comics?
I was very into Marvel for a period of time, and
Of
then
course.
it just became too much to keep up with, and now I am
As
less
were we all.
into Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah, as I'm sure
Yep,
happened to
yep.
a lot of us. But yeah, I do remember the bits of Bast in the world of T'Challa and Black Panther and all that.
Yeah. I was pretty psyched when I was like, oh yeah. Because obviously there is Bast in the Marvel comics. The figure first appeared in a Fantastic Four issue from the 50s, and they would come to play a pretty big role in Black Panther and the religious practices of Wakanda, but they've got a long and complicated comic book history that I'm not going to get into here. I want to talk
It's
about
always
that
a
line
long
from
and
Captain
complicated
America
comic
Civil War.
book history.
Always a long and complicated comic book history. But in Civil War, T'Challa has this great line where he says, "In my culture, death is not the end. It's more of a stepping off point. You reach out with both hands, and Bast and Sekhmet, they lead you into the green veiled where you can run forever." And that's just good. And this is a
Nice.
man who's dealing with the death of his father.
Super strong.
Ugh.
In the Black Panther movie, we get it mentioned, I guess, that Bast was the one who the goddess Bast supported the first Black Panther to become the king of Wakanda. And that's just tight as hell. I love that. I love that for her. She also makes a blink and you missed it appearance in Thor Love and Thunder. At the Council of the Gods, there is an actress who was cast to be Bast. And I have it here in the notes because she looks cool. And I think they also made her look very like vaguely Black Panther-esque to really like
Yeah.
establish that, yeah, this is Wakanda. This is Black Panther Bast.
Yeah. Does
and I've got
she
one
appear
more.
at all
Yeah.
in the show Moon Knight? Because I know
You know
that's
what?
like Egyptian.
Right? And I was looking. Here's the thing. I can't look too closely
seen
because I do plan on watching Moon Knight, and I don't want it to get spoiled for me. I gotta watch Moon Knight before the Khonshu episode because that is why our friends at Standby Line are coming. They are coming to talk about Moon Knight. We gotta watch it before then. But
I really enjoyed Moon Knight, but I watched it when it came out 3 years ago, so I cannot
think-
remember.
on Bast's Marvel wiki page, where the MCU and the comic book stuff was all listed, Moon Knight is not listed. So I'm going to
Interesting.
say no, and that does seem wild, but maybe they were like, listen, we already have Bast over here in Black Panther. Focus on the bird and the hippo over here.
Yeah. I remember the hippo.
I remember seeing her in a trailer. I need to
Mhm.
watch Moon. I meant to. I did not watch Moon Knight on purpose. I'm gonna watch Moon. Okay, I'll watch Moon Knight. Damn.
From what I remember, it
Um,
was very good. I enjoyed watching it.
It looks fun.
Yeah, looks like a blast.
And I got one more that before we pass it to DJ to talk about Smite. And I just wanted to talk real brief about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
That's right.
Oh, Dear listeners, if you have not
That movie's
watched,
fucked up, dude. I can't believe that.
So
It's still,
fucking crazy.
It's a fucking crazy ass movie.
I have
Shit's
not
still
watched
scary
this
to
movie,
day.
so I'm
Dude,
excited
it's
to
like a scary
learn.
movie.
I was
Gosh.
so we had it on VHS. I was so scared of this. as a kid. Like, as scared as I would be to watch like a full-on like slasher horror movie. Like, there are real zombies in the movie. They're not guys in masks. They're actual zombies.
Like, this is like real magic shit. Well, because you would think with
Scooby-Doo, they're just guys in masks, and it's going to be like, you meddling kids.
That's what everybody in the show was expecting too, actually. They pulled the guy's head off, I think.
They pull a zombie pirate's head off.
Yeah.
So, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. The gang gets back together to go on a big trip. It's coast to coast with Daphne Blake, because Daphne has her own talk show and Fred is her cameraman, and they don't really solve mysteries anymore. Everyone's lives went in different direction, but she really misses her friends and she'd love to try to find a real ghost. And so Fred gets the gang back together and they go on this trip all over Louisiana looking for ghosts, and they end up getting invited to this like island in the bayou, and they're told, oh yeah, there's real ghosts here. It's scary because there's a goddamn ghost pirate, and that's spooky as fuck. And there are zombies, and they get chased through the swamp, and that's scary as fuck. But there's a fucking incredible song. It's called Terror Time, and it's peak so good. But here's what we find out. Why are there zombies? Well, you see, once upon a time, in let's say the 1600s, some settlers came to this island. And then some pirates rolled up on this island, and they murdered all the settlers, except for two women named Simone and Lena. And they prayed to their cat god, who is not named, to give them the power to take revenge. And the cat god responded by giving them the power to transform into cat creatures. You could say werecat, but the moon has no impact on them whatsoever. They can just decide to transform. They become immortal. So long as they suck. So the cat creatures, obviously they're big and scary and they could just kill you physically, but they could also grab you and suck the life force out of you. Mm-hmm. So that's why there are zombies on the island.
Naturally.
Because when that happens to you, your soul is still trapped in the body, like your life force is gone, but you are a zombie in the swamp. And these cat creatures are immortal so long as they continue to devour the life force of their victims. So over the years, they took out these murderous pirates. That's pretty good with me. They took out some Confederates. That's pretty good with me. Not a ghost pirate. Yeah. Yep. But eventually then they just start luring tourists to their island and killing them so they can avoid dying.
Yeah,
less good. And they also have the ability, the cat, this isn't a one and done. There's this man who runs the riverboat, Jacques. He's not part of the original group, but they needed someone to drive a boat for him. So they got Jacques hooked up on the cat god power. So now he can just do this too. So theoretically, we could have way more cat people on this island than we do. So this is the problem that Scooby and the gang have to deal with. And it's wild. Now, the statue we see in the flashback appears to be masculine. And the settlers are white. So I'm not going to claim that this cat god is an Egyptian deity. But I did want to mention it in the episode about cat gods who sometimes do violence.
Fair enough. Reveling in the joys of life, Bastet, daughter of Ra, is the sensual embodiment of her feline form. This cat, however, has the fiercest claws. Cats are creatures that demand worship. They are regal, nonchalant, and insatiable. Though as much as they languish in the sun and rumble with purrs of pleasure, cats are agile and deadly hunters. Mercilessly, they cut the populations of invasive vermin and stinging scorpions, protecting the home from vile invaders. Perhaps the most troublesome enemy of the cat is the serpent, and there is no greater snake in the world than the horrendous Apophis. Circling the world along the horizon line, Apophis's scaly girth waited in ambush each morning for Ra to rise and bring lights to the world. To fend off this beast, Ra kept the company of his daughter, Bastet. Since time began, as Ra lifted into the eastern sky, Bastet would spit and howl, claws bared against the treacherous Apophis. Countless battles were fought, countless mornings faced uncertainty, until at last Bastet tore the foul serpent apart. With her greatest enemy gone, Bastet is free to prowl as she pleases. Now she is the guardian of the home and hearth, idle to women, especially those desiring children and exploring their sensuality, and patron of arts, wine, and any occasion of revelry. Like any cat, though, Bastet can still pounce without warning, shredding her enemies once her claws come out. This is Bastet and Smite. That's her lore that you read.
So we just started doing that and didn't give Mal any warning of what was about to happen there.
There was
I was like, sure.
Yeah. No, you did great, DJ. DJ plays a game. It's called Smite. It's a battle royale game where you play as mythological gods.
Not battle royale.
Great.
MOBA.
Not a battle royale?
Not a battle royale. Battle royales are different. That's 100 people fight until last man standing. MOBA is 2 teams of 5 fighting. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that there was a difference. That's specific. Fascinating. Okay. Anyway, Mal, I have sent you on Discord the link to Bastet's Smite page, so you can participate in the next part of this segment in which we look at all of the video game skins for the character and say which ones we like. I'm a big fan of this one called Shadow Prowler, and because it makes her look like she's a rock and roll cat from a production of Broadway's Cats.
Wait, where is this one?
It's towards the bottom.
Oh, incredible. Yes, you're right.
Yep. Yeah, it's a classic. She's got some good ones. She's been around since season 2, maybe season 1. So she's got some good amount of skins. Kawaii Pop is the first skin of its kind. Of that cutesy Japanese shit. Or weeaboo, I guess you should say. Otaku weeaboo. American.
Yeah. No, you're right. This does look like a 9th grader.
Yeah.
Who got into anime over the summer.
Yep.
I'm a fan of the Epsilon one where she's just in a t-shirt and sunglasses. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was I was looking at her abilities because she's had a couple reworks over the years. Just because she couldn't. Her original was good. Was really good early game, which is if you watch the video of the 4th ability, Huntress of Bast, what it shows is her old ability that she does not have anymore, where she summons 3 fucking pumas. And they just attack for her. But early game, that's
the
really
dream,
good.
being able to summon just 3 pumas.
Yeah, early game it's really good. Late game it's so dookie. Those they die so quickly that basic attacks get rid of them. So they reworked her to something different. It's just really funny that on their website it's still this video.
So many of these outfits, she looks like she's about to lose her boobs. They're about to come out of these tops.
For sure. I try not to be too critical.
They said sensuality twice in that lore drama.
They did say sensuality. And to Smite's credit,
I'm fertility goddess.
Yes, right. And to Smite's credit, not all of the goddesses, not all of the lady characters have their tits out. And I will give them that.
But this one does.
This one does.
Yes.
But she is a cat who is the goddess of sensuality and fertility. So, okay, she can be tits out.
Hey, if you scroll down, Bellona's the next goddess right there. Mm-hmm. She don't got her tits out. She does got boobs out, but it's it looks good.
Mulan doesn't have her tits out.
Mulan does not.
It would kind of defeat the purpose of Mulan.
Right.
Her base skin in Smite 1 does have boob mail, but she's got the Hidden Warrior skin, which is her base skin in Smite 2.
Which makes way more sense, honestly. And honestly, I'm looking at Amaterasu, who also doesn't have her tits out.
Oh, yeah, they do a good job. It's not every goddess has her boobs out.
Okay, so we just got lucky with this one.
We just got lucky with Bastet.
I will say maybe a few of the Egyptian goddesses more often than not have their tits out.
I do feel like I've seen more tits this season than we usually do on Smite. And it's a little bit of the exotification of
But to be fair,
I'm looking respectfully. And a little disrespectfully.
A little bit.
A lot of these ones are very early on. So this is early 2010s, effectively. Early mid 2010s is what you're seeing here.
Back before we respected women.
Her design is sick.
Before we respected women, Before women played video games, even.
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoyed the covert ops and the crimson ops as well, where it's the exact same picture, but the coloring is slightly different.
Yeah, there's a couple of gods who got that treatment, got little recolors for some skins, and I do dig that kind of stuff.
that is, I think, going to be it. I believe we all deserve a cat nap after this super fun episode.
Indeed.
Well, thank you. No, for real. Thank you so much for coming on and letting me bully you on last minute. I just wanted a guest for this episode. So yeah, when would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you?
Why, yes, of course. So I have a Percy Jackson podcast with a friend of mine who I am forcing to read the books and consume the show and all the other forms of media for the first time. That's a lot of fun. That's called Demigod Debut. And then I also have a podcast about HBO's The Pit. And that is called The Pit Crew. And that is also a lot of fun.
Great name.
So you can find Demigod Debut and
Robert's
The Pit Crew wherever you get podcasts. Demigod Debut is on social media at Demigod Debut Pod, pretty much everywhere. And The Pit Crew is on social media at Pit Crew Podcast, pretty much everywhere. So, I think.
Friend of the show, past guest Robert, Gamer of the Damn Meme Page, is also on Pit Crew. Yep. So, listeners, if you didn't enjoy Mal enough to be convinced to go listen to The Pit Crew, Robert's going to be there too. So
yes, even Robert will be there.
Even Robert will be there. Or you could also go over Demigod Debut, which was super fun to be on.
Yes, go listen to our episode about the end of The Lost Hero because it was a blast.
Yes, that was so fun. Hey, y'all were watching baseball when I was on that episode.
Yeah, we were.
So it's actually totally fine that DJ was wrapping up a game at the start.
No, it's
which
fine.
he was also doing when we were on your episode.
Yeah. We are often watching baseball. Like, a lot of times if Julie gets really quiet, she is watching baseball or she's, like, on Twitter. It's fine. Sometimes
it's fine.
I just talk, and it's for the pleasure of myself and the podcast audience, and that's it.
Right, they can't say. Sometimes I'm just talking for me, and I like having people to react to the things I say. So I'm like, no, this one's crazy, and I need more people to hear it, and I need people to be reacting to it. And but now, thank you again so very much. This was a blast. Links to all of Mal's things are going to be in the show notes. All right, dear listeners, we will be back in your ears on Tuesday, November the 25th, to talk about Thoth. We'll figure it out when we get there. But until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor,
The Crystal Conman, Nicholas Miller, Jeffrey Babbitt.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain.
And our cover is by Ran Kapoka. You can find them on Instagram or through the link in our show notes. Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Join the Patreon for free for access to outtakes and bloopers from our main feed episodes. Or for $5 a month, you can enjoy our Bunker 9 bonus episodes every other week. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology. Or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.